Hey guys, counting this is going to be a movie review for you guys, and this movie I'm going to be reviewing, I was definitely looking forward to seeing this movie for quite a few reasons. I was a little bit worried though because it was getting some mixed reviews, but it did come out today. It's the only movie I actually care about that came out today because who gives a shit that Hot Pursuit and the D Train came out, even though I heard the D Train's okay. This was like the one movie where I'm like, I need to see this movie this weekend, and I did, and that movie is Maggie. Maggie was a movie I was definitely looking forward to seeing for a couple of reasons. One, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger's first, like, really serious role. He is doing a serious role here. I want to see how he did in that. Plus, the concept really interests me. My only worry was the reviews. I was hearing very mixed reviews and that the movie wasn't as good as people thought it was going to be, and it was very different than what they were expecting. And overall, after seeing Maggie, what I think of Maggie, it was very different than what I was expecting. But that doesn't mean it wasn't amazing, because I thought Maggie was an amazing movie. I thought it was a great movie. I loved it. And I'm going to talk about some of the things that I thought were great with this movie. Definitely, that I think definitely a lot of people aren't understanding. I mean, I think they understand the movie, but what I mean by not understanding is that they're not really getting why the movie is the way it is. But first, let's get to the plot of Maggie, which honestly is just really depressing. It does seem kind of silly, but it's not at all that. Basically, there's this girl, Maggie, who she's become infected, in this post-apocalyptic, in this, like, world, kind of like The Walking Dead, but it's more like season 1 of The Walking Dead, where they don't exactly know what's going on, they don't know how the virus started, it's more like that. So, basically, she has been bitten by a zombie, and she knows that she's gonna turn into this zombie, but she wants to make the most of her life, and her father, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, stays by her side at all times to make sure this doesn't happen, to make sure that she has a good life and everything, so that he can help her out with this. And we kind of just see her journey as that character go through this, and also see her father, how he's affected and how much his life's going to change. And that's basically the plot of Maggie. And yes, it is very depressing. The plot sounds very depressing. And there's so many things that I thought worked so well with this movie. First off, right off the bat, we have to talk about the acting. The best thing about this movie, one thing I was looking forward to the most, could Arnold Schwarzenegger do a serious role? I mean, I really was not sure, because I've seen him do things like Total Recall and The Terminator. Sure, they're great movies, but they're still action movies. I don't think he's ever really done a true drama. He's done really stupid comedies and really awesome action movies. This was his big role as drama. Plus, he hasn't had, like, a decent movie in, like, 3 years. But god damn it, he pulled it off. He was amazing in this movie as Wade. I didn't see Arnold Schwarzenegger. I saw a father that was wounded. I saw a father that wanted to help his daughter and knew what his daughter was going through. You just see the pain that he's going through in this movie, the tragedy that he's going through. He doesn't want this to happen to her, but he knows that it has to happen. And I love the scenes where he's just trying to figure out how to deal with this. And he does get one scene in the movie, just so you guys know. He gets one scene, like, in the very beginning of the movie, where he's like Rick Grimes battling zombies, but that is not at all what this movie is. This is a character piece about a father and a daughter, and I think he just handled it perfectly. However, the real star of this film, while he did a great job, Abigail Breslin is the real star of this film as Maggie, honestly. This is Wade's movie just as much as Maggie, but I think she stole the show, and I'll talk about why. Everything about her felt real. Everything about the movie feels real. And the thing I love is that something I didn't know is that she just did a great job as this character. I mean, there's some scenes where she has these visions of these deadly things that zombies are doing, and she's terrified. But here's the thing, what she's terrified of, she's going to become, and she knows that. And I love that character journey that she goes throughout this movie. You see the bonding that these two have, and it's just so sad, because you know that the second that she turns into a zombie, it's going to be destroyed, and she's never going to get it back, and she's terrified of what's going to happen to her. And I thought their bonding overall was by far the strongest part of the movie. And it didn't feel superficial at all. I heard people saying, oh, it was forced, it was superficial. I thought they did a really good job here, definitely. I thought it was really great. It really worked very well, in my opinion, and I thought overall it really worked out really tremendously, I have to say. It could have been really bad, but they made it work really well. It doesn't seem like it works, but it really does work, and might seem like it's hard to take a movie seriously, but again, you have to picture this as like The Walking Dead. It definitely is one of those kind of movies. Just picture, like, say, remember when Carol had to kill a zombie? I mean, that's kind of what this is. I mean, he never thinks of killing Maggie, but I think it definitely is that kind of tone, and I really did love that. Jolie Richardson as Caroline. I didn't know that the movie was going to touch as much upon Maggie's family, the rest of Maggie's family, her mom, Caroline, who I really loved her character as well because she kind of feels like, she has caused what's happened to Maggie, and she's also very worried about what's going to happen to her. I thought she was really great in the movie, and I thought everyone overall did a really good job. Also, the guy who played the doctor, amazing, I have to say. He was amazing in the movie. I think he had some amazing standout scenes. He was fantastic. I thought he was just great in the movie. Now, thing you need to know about this movie, again, you're thinking, Arnold Schwarzenegger, it has to be silly. This is not your happy-go-lucky Arnold Schwarzenegger, I shoot guns kind of movie. This is a dark movie directed by Henry Hobson, tremendously directed by him. Some of the best directing of the year. I think he did a great job directing this movie. Honestly, it was dark. It was bleak. It was what it needed to be. There was no part in the movie where it's like, oh, this is too stupid. We gotta wrap this up. We got, this is too stupid. This isn't working. This is not, the movie's not taking itself seriously. No, the movie takes itself seriously throughout the whole movie, and I love that. The movie stayed the same way the whole time. It didn't try to change what it was. It tried to stay this dark tone, and it really is realistic, because that's what would happen. Okay, it's not going to be a happy time. If your daughter's changing into a zombie, it's not going to be a happy time. If you're changing into a zombie, it's not going to be happy. It's going to be sad, and it is fucking sad, and that's because the directing. Honestly, it feels like you're watching an episode of The Walking Dead, and it's very well directed. Something I definitely enjoyed watching. I thought they directed that perfectly. Cinematography here is by far some of the best of the year because it's so bleak. Like, every shot in this movie is bleak and dark and gray. There's color to this movie, but it's mainly, like, dark and gray. Even the poster, look at it. It just looks, very disturbing, and probably the best use of cinematography was her transformation into this character. Throughout the movie, she starts to look more and more like a zombie, and they handled it very, very well. It wasn't done in like, oh, she's turning into a zombie, you can tell she's turning into a zombie. Like, it wasn't superficial. It was handled in a very realistic way, and I know, like, realistic zombies doesn't really work, but if this were to happen, that's how it was handled, and I thought they handled that in a very good way, and I love the subtle way they handled it. That was definitely really good. Now, the one complaint about this movie that is excruciatingly slow and very boring, but here's the thing, guys. What do you expect? It's not going to be a happy movie. It's going to be a slow movie. That doesn't mean the screenplay is not great, because it is. I thought the screenplay was amazing to this movie. The conversations that Maggie and Wade have were fantastic, and they're doing whatever they can to bond and stay together, and he's trying to stay by her side, even though he knows that he's not going to be able to stay by her side the whole time. He tries to, and I love seeing him trying to stay by her side at all times, even when he knew that he couldn't, and that's something I definitely really loved. And it was a very different kind of screenplay as well. There's a lot more of, just conversations and Maggie meeting up with this person. I know the movie was going to touch as much upon their family life, but that's something else I really enjoyed. Seeing her bonding with, her brother and her mother, I thought that was really well done. Hearing conversations about their mother, I thought was really good. There's a great scene where she goes out to a party and just tries to be a normal teenager, because she's not going to be able to be like that for that much longer, and they're terrified of her, and it's a really well done scene, because it shows that even though she just has, like, this one injury on her eye, they're already terrified of her, and I think they just handled that very, very well. I thought the screenplay was definitely really good. It wasn't too slow. I didn't think it was ever boring. I was into the movie the whole time, and I thought it was perfect. It really was. And I guess the only thing I'll talk about is the editing, which I thought the editing was great to this movie. Also, there are some disturbing things to this movie. Disturbing scenes, some very sad scenes as well. I'm going to admit, there were some times where I almost cried to this movie. There's some very sad scenes that are very well handled and very realistic as well. There's nothing superficial about them. That's the thing I'm going to say about this movie, is that this movie is not superficial. This is a dark movie. It's not trying to be Hollywood. It's nothing about it is Hollywoodized. It's completely realistic. It's what would happen if this happened. It shows a daughter and father's love and how that has to come to an end when she's turning into a zombie, and it's just so sad to watch. and there are scenes where, you know, you really don't know when she's going to turn into a zombie. You know it's going to happen, and the ending of the movie was perfect, the way they ended it. I mean, you knew what was going to happen. I'm not going to spoil it, but just, you knew it was going to come to that. I'm pretty sure you guys know how this movie ends, but you know what it's going to come to, and the way they ended it, I thought was perfect. I loved the ending of the movie. Definitely, I thought it was great. So overall, I have to say, Maggie's one of the best films of 2015 so far, definitely. I love this movie. I would highly recommend you guys check out this movie. Don't listen to the reviews, okay? Don't listen to the critics. If you guys can watch movies like Foxcatcher and things like that, this is your kind of movie. This movie is not boring. It's interesting. It's sad. It's depressing. It's not something you watch if you want to watch a happy-go-lucky movie. If you want to watch a fun movie, watch, like, The Terminator or even Total Recall. Total Recall is very depressing, but it's at least fun at times. You can have fun with it. So, you can definitely have fun with that movie. But this is not a movie you can have fun with. It's dark. It has a lot of talking scenes. It's not something that I would recommend to... It's not for everyone. I'm going to say that right now. This movie is not for everyone. If you don't like dialogue-driven movies, you're not going to love this movie. You're going to think it's excruciatingly slow. But I found it extremely interesting. I didn't find anything boring like everybody else did. Everyone's like, oh, the movie's so boring. Don't watch it. It's boring. But I didn't find anything about boring. I found it interesting. I found it well done. I found the story well executed. I really loved pretty much everything about this movie. It's not a masterpiece because it didn't, like, it's not, like, mind-blowing like the last 5 years or Predestination. It's not that. But it definitely was very good. It's one of the best movies of 2015 so far. I don't know if it's going to be on my top 10 list. Definitely honorable mentions, though. I absolutely love this movie. I highly recommend you guys check it out because it really is fantastic. So that's basically my review of Maggie. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A couple announcements that I'm going to say if you guys did not watch my Daredevil review. I am going to be reviewing the season of Bloodline, so I'm going to watch the rest of the show and then review the season. I'm so behind on the show that I don't think I'll be able to catch up to it and be able to, you know, I'll be done with the finale in, like, August, so I need to catch up to that. Plus, there's a new show on Netflix called Grace and Frankie that I definitely want to check out, so I'm going to review that as well. I'll review the first episode probably either today or tomorrow. I don't know when. We'll see. But that's probably going to be my next review. It's probably for the pilot of Grace and Frankie. So I will see you guys for that. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie you have seen, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.